Next time you're at the Dollar Tree, grab a couple of their 8x10 wooden frames for this great hack. Roll out that mesh screening and place your frame on top. Once your piece is cut out, place your frame face side down on the table and put the mesh on the back. Once you've gotten it stapled all around, grab your scissors and trim off any excess. Grab some burlap or your ribbon of choice, and you're going to cut 4 longer lengths, about a foot or 14 inches long, and make 4 of those that are even. Then create 4 more strips of ribbon that are 6 to 8 inches long, so a little shorter. Your longer pieces, grab the frame that you want to be the top, and you're going to adhere 1 piece of ribbon to each of the 4 corners. Make sure they're nice and even. Then you're going to do the same thing with your shorter pieces. You should be able to gather the tops of those 4 longer ribbons, and you'll see once you lift what you've got. Then grab the tops of the 4 long burlap ribbons and tie them in a good knot. Next, we're headed out to the garden. It's jungle season. That means the basil is bursting. And so we're going to just take some of this fresh basil. We're going to rinse off the leaves, and then we're going to place the leaves in a single layer on each of these frames. Once we've done that, we're going to find a good place to hang it with just a simple S hook, and then we're going to let it sit outside, or you can actually do this indoors. I like to put it in a dark closet if I use it inside, and these leaves will dry, creating herbs that you can use all winter long.
I grabbed a free palette for this genius garden hack. I used a hammer to remove some of the boards carefully. I left the nails in the boards so that I could use them again. I made 3 rows with 3 boards tight together on the bottom row, 2 boards together in the middle, and 2 boards near the top. The palette was taller than I wanted, so I used a reciprocating saw to cut the extra off. I flipped the palette over and followed the same pattern with 3 boards together on the bottom, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the top. I used all the leftover boards from this palette, plus a couple extra scrap 1x4s. I cut more 1x4s to fill in the bottom of each section and secured it with 3 nails on the front, and then I flipped it over and I hammered in 3 nails on the back side. I gave the front a quick sand with 120 grit sandpaper using my palm sander. Next, I filled each section with soil and planted my favorite herbs. I used my Cricut to print stencils to paint labels for each section. When applying the stencil, I first sealed it with Mod Podge, and then I let it dry before painting with acrylic paint. Once the paint was near dry, I removed the vinyl and did some touch-ups with my black acrylic paint pen. And now I have the most beautiful herb garden that can also be hung on the wall.
Have you ever wanted to be more self-sufficient, but also stay on budget? Well, go ahead and head out to your local Walmart and grab one of these plastic drawer sets. Then get yourself some good quality seed starting mix and go ahead and moisten it up. A lot of the times when it comes out of the bag, it's super dry and you can't really do anything with that. Once you got your seed starting mix moistened, and you're going to want to grab a dry erase marker and label the 3 drawers on the bin that you bought. Once you've done that, set out some seed starting pots. These can be things that you've bought, or you can make them out of toilet paper tubes or newspaper. It doesn't have to be fancy. And go ahead and fill them about 3/4 of the way up with some of that moist potting soil or seed starting mix. You're going to take some seeds of your choosing, and you are going to place a seed or 2 in each of the pots. Now, and then take a few popsicle sticks and label them with what the seeds are. Next, you're going to take these full seed starting cups and you're going to place them inside those drawers. This is so perfect. The drawers are plastic, so you'll be able to water them right in the drawer and place them in a sunny spot, or at least a place that gets partial sun. And before you know it, just wait and see. You'll come outside and you'll find that you have some seeds that are sprouting and plants that are growing. It really is kind of like magic. Do you think vinegar is just for use in the kitchen? It's not. So grab your jug of white vinegar and let me show you all the ways you can use it in the garden. The first is going to be for a DIY weed killer spray. And so you're going to want to combine white vinegar, a good squirt of dish liquid, and then you're going to add half a cup of Epsom salt. Next, you're going to want to spray it on those weeds and then come back overnight and you'll see that your weeds have died. And in my jar, I already have about a cup of water. And now I'm just going to add an equal amount of white vinegar. Place your garden tool inside. When I come back the next day, you'll see all that loose debris that's come off of my pruners. Next is all about your hummingbirds. And so if you brought your hummingbird feeder in last year and you washed it, there still might be some soapy residue in there, which we don't want the hummingbirds to ingest. So just take a little bit of white vinegar and then an equal amount of water, and then you can pour it out and do another rinse of water, and your hummingbird feeder should be good to go. If you're bringing in garden veggies or buying them from your local farmer's market, even if they haven't sprayed with pesticides, you still want to wash your fruit and vegetables. So add just a few tablespoons of vinegar to a bowl and cut it with water. Put your fruits or veggies inside and let them sit for a few minutes, swish them around, and then you can go ahead and drain them off in a colander.
I have a blank wall in my garden that needed some attention. I went to the store and grabbed some hula hoops along with black matte spray paint. Once I got home, I laid out the hoops and painted each one with the paint. I sprayed each hoop with several thin layers of paint. I allowed each layer to dry completely before turning the hoops over to spray the other side. I love the matte black because it gives them the look of wrought iron. Now to assemble the trellis. I took the hoops out to my garden and decided to attach them to my house using small poultry staples, which I hammered into the area between my wood siding. I then slipped a piece of pipe cleaner through the hole and attached the hoop, twisting the ends together. I designed my layout to fit the space by holding up each hoop and deciding where to attach it. Once the hoops were attached to the siding, I used black electrical tape to join the hoops together where they crossed over each other. Now to attach the plant. I chose a climbing rose named Lady Beard, which will continue to send out long stems, and in the spring, small white bunches of fragrant roses will fill the stems. To attach the plant, I carefully moved each stem, bundling some together, and following the curve of the hoop. I love the look of my new trellis, and it was so easy to make. It's lightweight, it's sturdy enough to hold the plant. And as the plant grows, I can simply add additional hoops. I hope this inspires you to build your own trellis today.